Every morning, the countdown begins for the markets with meticulous research and analysis designed to help you capitalize on the trading day. Beaming live from the CNBC TV 18 Motilal Oswal studio.
Good morning. You're with us here on a fresh new edition of Bazaar Morning Call. We're coming to you live from the CNBC TV 18 Motilal Oswal studios. Middle of the week, that wobble in US continues, especially on the back of the Magnificent Seven companies. Nasdaq is down once again. So that's, I think, the starting point at least. Markets here fared much better compared to the rest of the Asian region. And the question is, will that continue? That relative day-to-day outperformance continue? I'm Prashant. With me, my colleagues Surbi and Nigel. Guys, morning.
Hi, good morning, folks. Morning, Nigel. Morning, Prashant. I was a little disappointed. My whole theory about the India being the anti-AI trade, we didn't get the FPI follow-through. I would have been very happy seeing about 1,000 crores of buying in cash. Didn't get that, but we'll see. But by the way, folks, I mean, such sparks flying in the White House and the Oval Office, including Mr. Trump threatening to ban one of the US television networks. So plenty of masala out there.
Well, that's right. And I don't think, Surbi, you should be too disappointed because yesterday there were a lot of large trades. So maybe the FI buy numbers do as well. We remain optimistic. And the globe partied all through the year. Maybe the year end belongs to India. I like to be optimistic.
Well, I think in markets you have to be optimistic, right? I mean, there's no point looking at... you've got to be careful, but you've got to stay optimistic. Things perhaps will get better as you go forward. Let's just take a quick look at where we stand, right, as we begin this fresh trading session. We'll start with US, right? So the color is red. US equities were lower and largely led by the technology sector. S&P 0.8% lower, Nasdaq 1.2%. By the way, these final closes were off the intraday lows, both on the S&P and the Nasdaq. And I just want to make one particular point. If you exclude, 4 out of the Magnificent Seven companies out of the picture, I mean, the cuts were about 0.2 to 0.3% on both the Nasdaq and the S&P. So that is essentially how dominant the reaction, price pressure from just 4 out of the 7, not even 7 companies, 4 was. Actually, almost 60% of the S&P companies, S&P 500 companies ended in the green. So, just look at the overall color. It was not as bad. So I think just to make that point as well. Now, NVIDIA was down 2%, another 2%. Amazon is down about ended about 4% lower. And of course, NVIDIA will report numbers post-market tonight. The big talking point about NVIDIA is, will Jensen Huang, the CEO, touch upon that $500 billion revenue guidance, whatever that number which has been spoken about from the data center business. So, I think a fair bit of focus around that. Now, in AI, deals continue. Microsoft and NVIDIA. I mean, just look at this, right? Microsoft and NVIDIA are the biggest backers of OpenAI. Who is the biggest challenger of OpenAI? Anthropic. Microsoft and NVIDIA are committing to invest a combined $15 billion, 10 from NVIDIA, 5 from Microsoft, into Anthropic. These and we've spoken about many of these circular deals, and this is one more, because Anthropic is saying that they're going to buy about $30 billion worth of compute capacity from Microsoft's Azure cloud service. Interesting times. Again, on the with regards to AI and product launches, Google launched Gemini 3 overnight, and it looks like it's kind of topping AI performance charts across the board. Lots of conversation chatted around it. Yesterday, while we were trading, most of the crypto coins were all down between 4-5%. Bitcoin was down 5%. And I think it briefly fell below 90,000 levels, but it's come back above. I mean, using Bitcoin for nothing more than just another indicator of what risk sentiment is looking like. It's, of course, pulled back quite a bit from the highs. Macro markets largely quiet. The 10-year lost about 2 basis points. Oil prices up, but up very, very little, 1%. So just under $65 a barrel is where we're at. Just to tie in the levels, I'm just looking at supports here. 20-day both for the Nifty and the Nifty Bank, as we've highlighted. Those numbers have moved a bit. 25,808 is the support for the Nifty, which is the 20-day. The Nifty Bank support is 58,137, again, which is the 20-day moving average for both. On the upside, I mean, the swing highs and the highs for the last 4-5 days, I think those numbers are pretty clear. But the market knows what it has to do. 26,100 is that upper end of the range of the Nifties we put out. So iron supports as we start this session. GIFT Nifty will give you a quick sense of how we likely to start. It's about 20 odd points high. Remember, yesterday was much more quieter as compared to Monday or even Friday for that matter, in terms of broader market and the breadth of the activity, etc. So we'll see if we get a repeat of that or something else. Tonight, after US market closes, when Nvidia will report, and that's being kind of seen at least as a bit of a pivotal moment for this shakeout in AI trade that we are seeing out there. But that's a big debate, really. It's not here in India, it's outside India. Well, Nigel is now walked across with that F&O statistic and the positioning. Nigel, over to you.
Well, over the last 12 to 18 months, AI has dominated, all the news. It's dominated the earnings. It's taken a large chunk in terms of global indices as well. And now we are seeing some kind of give back from the big rally that we have seen. And it appears India is the anti-AI hedge. And I say that with some data points. The last 5 trading sessions, actually, the Indian markets in dollar terms have outperformed some of these AI-heavy markets, which have done much, much better than India. So the last 5 trading sessions, actually, India's been an outperformer. Can we outperform towards the end of this year? That's the hope. And in fact, I remain optimistic on that front as well. Moving to yesterday's trading session, yes, we ended down. And yes, we outperformed as well the other Asian markets. But I'll tell you what, bulk of that fall came in the final 30 to around 45 minutes, which is telling you the weekly expiry factor did play out. That's why I'm not so worried with regard to the fall that we saw yesterday. If we start off a little bit soft today, we could see a good rebound in today's trading session itself, provided the lower levels do get protected. The FI as well, not too much positioning is what we saw in terms of change in open interest. But if you're looking at the Nifty as well as the Nifty Bank, well, there was unwinding of long positions that we saw on both these two indices. And the FI, since not much moved in the index futures, well, they continue at around 12% long positioning and 88% short positioning. Moving to the absolute terms as well, yes, there are opposite ends of the spectrum, and that's been the case, the FIs as well as the clients. Clients net long, FIs net short. Moving to the options data, this is now for the next series. That's the coming Tuesday as well. You have the 26,000 call. Good amount of open interest built up. And we've seen constant addition at around this 26,000 call or thereabouts. So the call writers, they believe higher levels are going to get protected. However, on the downside as well, the 25,900 put, you saw a good amount of open interest built up, which brings us to the levels itself. So on the upside, the 26,100, 26,150 will be the resistance mark that the bears will look to defend. However, the bulls, they'll fancy their chances that this 25,750 mark could actually be a good entry point. Because the 20 DMA is in that vicinity of around 25,800 or thereabouts. So that's a crucial support. Don't rule out a bounce from the lows in today's trading session. And if that has to happen, then the Nifty Bank, it outperformed yesterday. It's been the index really to go to, and the bulls have been turning to that till the 20 DMA is protected, which is a good 1,000 points or 850 points away from current levels. You'll fancy your chances that this is the one that's going to take the bulls higher. So we'll keep an eye out on that as well. Starting off, I think, a little bit softish or flattish, but going by yesterday's close, maybe some bit of a pullback and an outperformance could continue for India.
Yeah, perhaps, that can actually happen because Asian markets have stabilized. They had their share of the fall yesterday. Major markets like Japan were down over 3%. Kospi was down 3%. So today, this morning, it's a day of recovery across most of Asia, including markets like Hong Kong and Taiwan for the time being. So let's see if this recovery can last and whether we will be on the upside. Let's pull up the implied open and what it's indicating right now. So yes, more in sync with our neighborhood, 20 points up. That's the indicative start now.